Have you ever noticed that suddenly everyone seems to be talking about VO2 max? You hear it mentioned in conversations about fitness, healthy aging, longevity, smartwatches, and maybe you've thought, okay, but what exactly is VO2 max? And maybe the bigger question is, how do I even know what my VO2 max number is? Because that's the part I think sometimes gets missed. People tell us this number is important, but they don't always explain what it is, what it means, where it comes from, or what it's supposed to do, what we're actually supposed to do with it. So that's what I want to break down today. Don't worry, you don't need to be a runner, a cyclist, or a competitive athlete for this conversation to matter. Let's start with the name, VO2 max. It sounds complicated, but it's actually describing something fairly simple. The V refers to volume. O2 is oxygen, and max simply means maximum. So VO2 max is especially the maximum amount of oxygen your body can use when you're working really hard. Think about what happens when you start exercising. Your muscles need more energy, and to help produce that energy, your body needs oxygen. Your lungs take oxygen into your heart. It pumps oxygen-rich blood throughout your body. Your circulation delivers it to the working muscles, and then those muscles have to actually use that oxygen. VO2 max helps give us an idea of how well the whole system is working together. That's why you'll often hear it described as a measurement of cardiovascular fitness. Now, when we hear the word fitness, I think a lot of us immediately picture athletes. Maybe someone running a marathon or training for a race. But VO2 max isn't only interesting if you're trying to become a faster athlete. It can also tell us something about the overall capacity of our cardiovascular system, and that matters in everyday life. Think about walking up a hill, climbing a few flights of stairs, going for a long hike, cycling, swimming, playing with your kids or grandkids, or simply being able to stay active without feeling completely wiped out. Your body needs to be able to deliver oxygen effectively to support all of that activity. So rather than thinking, how athletic am I think a more useful question is, how well can my body support the things I want to be able to do? And that's where VO2 max starts, becoming a really interesting wellness number. You'll usually see VO2 max written as a number followed by something like ml/kg/min. That simply means the amount of oxygen your body can use relative to your body weight in 1 minute. But unless you really enjoy exercise physiology, you don't need to memorize that. The important part is simply understanding that the number is giving you an indication of your aerobic or cardiorespiratory fitness. And here's something else that's important. There isn't one magic VO2 max number that's good for everybody. VO2 max tends to differ based on things like age, sex, fitness level, and the way it was measured. If your friend tells you their VO2 max is 42 and yours is 34, that doesn't automatically mean you should be comparing the two numbers. It's much more useful to understand your own number and where you fall within the appropriate range, and whether you're improving over time. This is probably the question I find most interesting. How do you actually find your VO2 max? There are a few different ways. The first is laboratory testing, and this is the most direct way to measure VO2 max. You may have seen videos of this before. Someone is running on a treadmill or riding a stationary bike while wearing a mask over their mouth and nose. The exercise gradually becomes harder while the equipment measures the oxygen they're breathing in and the gases they're breathing out. That allows the equipment to actually measure how much oxygen the body's using. So when you're talking about a true laboratory VO₂ test, we're talking about an actual measurement. Obviously, though, most of us aren't heading into an exercise physiology lab every few months, which brings us to the second option, your smartwatch or your fitness tracker. This is probably where many people first see a VO₂ max number. Certain Apple Watches, Garmin devices, and other fitness trackers can give you an estimated VO₂ max. I want to emphasize that the word is estimate. Your watch isn't actually measuring the oxygen you're breathing in and out. There's no mask attached to your Apple Watch. Instead, the device uses information such as your heart rate, movement, pace, workout data, age, weight, and other factors to estimate your level of cardiorespiratory fitness. That's why two different devices may not always give you exactly the same number. And that's also why we shouldn't necessarily treat the number on a watch as identical to a laboratory measurement. But it can still be useful, especially if you're using the same device consistently and watching the trend over time. So you may already have a VO₂ max estimate sitting inside your health or fitness app and not even realize it's there. There are also different fitness or field tests that can be used to estimate aerobic fitness. These might involve walking or running a certain distance, competing timed activity, or looking at things like heart rate and recovery. Again, these aren't directly measuring oxygen consumption. They're using your performance to estimate it. So an easy way to remember the difference is this. A lab test is measured, a smartwatch is estimated, and a fitness test is estimated. All three can potentially give you useful information depending on what you're trying to learn. This might be the best part of the conversation because VO₂ max isn't simply a score that you're stuck with. Cardiorespiratory fitness can improve with training, and that doesn't mean everyone suddenly needs to start running. There are lots of ways to challenge your cardiovascular system, like walking faster, cycling, swimming, hiking, jogging, dancing, rowing, taking an exercise class, or even adding short periods where you increase your effort and then recover can all challenge the system a bit differently. The key is that your heart, lungs, muscles are being asked to gradually do a little more, and over time, the body adapts. I think this is the piece I really want to leave you with. VO₂ max doesn't have to become another number that we obsess over. It doesn't need to become another reason to feel like we're doing something wrong. Instead, think of it as another piece of information. We measure blood pressure, we look at strength, we pay attention to balance, we look at how much we're moving, and VO₂ max gives us another way to think about cardiovascular fitness. Especially as we get older, the goal isn't necessarily to become an elite athlete. The goal is to keep being able to do the things we love, to walk, travel, garden, swim, hike, play, and stay independent, and keep asking our bodies to participate fully in our lives. So the next time someone mentions VO₂ max, hopefully it won't sound quite so mysterious. And here's something you can do actually today. If you wear a fitness tracker or smartwatch, open your health app and see if you can find your VO₂ max or cardio fitness estimate. You may already have the number. And if you do, instead of immediately deciding whether it's good or bad, use it as a starting point. Learn what it means for you and maybe pay attention to how that number really changes as you continue building your fitness over time. Because sometimes understanding where we are today is one of the best ways to decide where we want to go next.